What's up guys, Max here. Let me just start out by saying I'm in the middle of moving from Japan to the United States right now, so this is not my typical setup. I'm gonna be redoing my office when I get back to the States, and I'll update you guys on that. Today, I'm gonna be showing you guys how to turn one clip into three with just a couple clicks to improve your overall efficiency and productivity within DaVinci Resolve. I'm all about increasing productivity and efficiency. As you guys know, time is money, and the more time you have in your day to spend time with friends and family, the better, and the less time you have to spend editing your content into all these different formats and sizes and resolutions for all these different social medias. What if you could automate that entire process? Today, I'm gonna show you guys how. If you guys are interested in learning more about that, consider subscribing to this channel because I do a lot of teaching on DaVinci, gear reviews, tutorials, and I just wanna make myself and you guys better creators. If that does sound good, consider subscribing, hitting the like button. You know that helps a lot furthering this channel. When I started in DaVinci Resolve, I was totally lost in the sauce. If you're anything like me, it is crazy to get started with this program, or any program for that matter. And when I got started, the first thing I did is I went into the untitled project, just like I'm sure everybody else did, and I would drop in my media, create timelines, import assets, all that stuff, songs, and then edit, and then do it all again 5 times a week. I figured out a way to make that process so streamlined, so easy, so simple, and I'm gonna teach you guys that today. It all starts with the project file. All right, so let's jump in here to DaVinci Resolve. And if you guys are like me, you're looking at a few projects in here and you've got untitled project at the top. Now, untitled project, that's the default that ships with DaVinci Resolve, but we're not gonna be using that. We're gonna be using our own custom project. So I'm gonna go down here to new project, and I'm gonna call this podcast template. And you guys can call yours whatever you want, but this is gonna be the one theoretically that you're gonna be using going forward for all of your projects. So I'll create that. And you land here in the cut page. You can tell by this icon down here. I don't want to be there. I want to be in the edit page. So I'm going to come over here and click this icon right here. Now I'm in the edit page. You guys might not know your way around the edit page very well. If you're not sure about DaVinci, you're just getting started, I have another video on workspaces linked in the description down below. But up here, this is your media pool. If you don't have this, you might want to try clicking this button up here that says media pool, and that will reveal it. Now I have my effects on here, just how I have mine set up. If you guys want to get rid of those or bring those back in, you can click that right there. So within our media pool right here, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a new timeline and give it a name. So I'm gonna right click, timelines, create new timeline. I'm gonna call this 4K UHD timeline. I'm going to give it 2 video tracks and 2 audio tracks, and I'm gonna uncheck use project settings because I like to go verify this for myself. And in format here, I can confirm, yes, I do in fact have 3840 by 2160 Ultra HD, 24 frames a second. I actually use 30 frames a second, but you guys can do that however you want. I'm gonna create that. All right, so that's our first timeline. We're gonna make 3 total. Our second timeline, we're gonna go through the same process, right click, but you can also go File, you can go New Timeline and do it like this. So I'll do it this way. I'm gonna do a 1080 timeline. 1080 timeline, 2 video tracks, 2 audio tracks, uncheck project settings, go to format, 1920 by 1080, 30 frames a second, and I'll create that. If at any point in time you think I'm going too fast for you, then you can pause this video, rewind. There are chapters down below as well. So now we have a problem right away. I can no longer see my 4K timeline here, and I know I'm gonna be jumping around from timeline to timeline. That's the whole point of this workflow. What you can do is you can press this button right here, and you can go to this one, which is called Stacked Timelines. And now you can see it opens up your timelines as tabs. And I can plus a timeline, add in my 4K one, and now I have them both open, and I can reorder these as I see fit. Now might be a good time to save if you guys want to. So I'm gonna go ahead and save mine. So there's one last timeline we need to create. That is vertical video. So I'm gonna go right click, timelines, create new timeline, vertical video, 2 audio tracks, stereo, just like the rest. But this time the format, I'm gonna manually type in here in this window, in this block, 1080 by 1920, 30 frames a second. That's, like I said, 30 is mine. You guys do whatever with yours. All right, so now we have our 3 primary timelines. 4K. I'm gonna use this one to upload to YouTube as my primary source of disseminating my videos. 1080. If I wanna render one out for Twitter, for Instagram, something like that. That 1080 file size, it's gonna be smaller, it's gonna render faster, and nobody watching on their phones is gonna know the difference between your 1080 and your 4K clips. So don't fill up your hard drives, don't fill up your cloud storage with 4K clips if you don't have to. And then I have my vertical video. So now it's gonna be time to bring in our media. So before we do that, a little more housekeeping to do. Over here, this area right here, you see it says master. These are our bins. And these are like a library, a catalog of all of your footage. You don't have to do this, but I strongly recommend you do, because staying organized is going to be so key to your success. It's going to seem not so important in the beginning, but as your projects get more complex and as you grow, staying organized is going to be absolutely critical to your success. So I'm just going to go ahead and right click in here, new bin. I'm going to call this A-roll. Keep it simple. Your primary footage. New bin. B-roll, your secondary footage. New bin, voice audio for my podcast. That's if I'm doing my recording of my show off of the Rodecaster or whatever your preferred recording device is. You might have multiple tracks of voice, and then you might want to add more audio tracks into your timeline. Customize this any way that you see fit that's best for your workflow. I'm going to do one more bin, and that's going to be music audio for backing tracks, background music, and all that. If you're a YouTuber, you probably are going to want to have one for sound design, for whooshes and, cha-chings and things like that. You can create another one for sound design, but I'm just going to keep these for now. I have some, what I'm going to call episodes of my podcast. I'm using stock footage, but I'm going to drag in an episode. So here on my desktop, I've got, let's see, we're going to call this episode 1. I'm going to drop it into my A-roll. And from here, I can bring this into my 4K timeline. I'll zoom in on my timeline. So here I'm just using stock footage, but this is normally the format that my podcast is in. I have normally myself up here, where I have this gentleman, looks like he's at a wedding or something. This is a scaled down 1920 by 1080, and this comes out of my OBS recordings, which I have a tutorial on that as well. And then over here in this larger window, this is where I'm normally covering stories off the internet or referencing a Google browser window or whatever other video I'm reacting to or whatever it is I have over here. So this is my normal format. If you guys have whatever your OBS format is or whatever your recording source is, I assume you have something that you want to edit out and make into multiple pieces of content. That's what we have here, right? So I can go ahead and edit this out into a YouTube video or whatever I want. I can do my editing, I can do my cuts, whatever I want to do. If I want to make it into a smaller file for Twitter, let's say, I can Command C to copy, come over to my 1080 timeline, and Command V to paste. And what's good is that because I labeled these or I created the same number of tracks, I will stay organized because all my tracks will be copied into the same place from timeline to timeline. If you want to level up your organization even more, you can call audio 1 down here voice, audio 2 music. You can call video 1 A-roll, and you can call video 2 B-roll. And you can do the same thing over here. Voice, music, A-roll, B-roll. And now when you work between your 1080 and your 4K, or 4K and 1080, you will stay completely organized, everything in the same spot. That's definitely what you want to do. But vertical video, this is where it's going to get a little bit different. This is where the magic's really going to happen. I'm over here in vertical video. I'm not going to name these the same thing. I'll show you why. I'll come over here. I'll make sure this is still copied. Come over to vertical video, and I'll paste it in. Now you guys can see here, out of all the real estate that I have up here, nobody's going to want to watch this 1080 format video scaled in to fit in a vertical video with all that negative space. It looks like garbage. Here's what we're going to do. This is going to be amazing. You guys have to set this up one time, and then forever, it's just going to automatically work for you, okay? I'm going to take this clip that I have. This is episode 1 of my podcast. That's what we're going with. Right click, new compound clip up here. New compound clip, okay? New compound clip, and I'll call this podcast reformat, and I'll create it. Take this, you're going to Alt, left click, and drag up to duplicate that, okay? So now we've made a duplicate, 2 of the same compound clip. Now, I did make a little bit of a mistake though, and you guys might have done this too. Because I was in A-roll, my compound clip was put into my A-roll folder. Maybe that's what you want, I don't know. I don't want that. I want my compound clip to be in my master folder. So I can just click and drag over to master to move any clip from one bin into another. So now I have my timelines and my compound clip in here in my master folder. Very easy to navigate. Do this. Don't slack on this, I'm telling you guys. All right, so back over here in my vertical video timeline. 2 tracks, both of them identical. So I want to edit these two to create a more interesting composition. So I have to disable one because they're duplicated. If I make changes to one, I won't really tell because they're duplicates. So I'm going to disable video 1 with this button right here, the disable and enable disable button. So you can click and unclick that. So that's disabled right now. And I'm going to crop out and then scale so I end up with just the parts of the video that I want to have remaining. So I'm going to do this, scale this to 2.4, I know works for me. And I'm kind of speeding through this so you guys can see it. And then I can come back down here to video 1, which is a duplicate of the compound clip, remember. I'll crop this. And I like to put this one at 1.7 times and slide it over here. So now I have a little bit more of an interesting composition, okay? Now these are compound clips, so the footage is actually somewhere else. If I come here to my master and I click on my compound clip, my podcast reformat, and I right click that, and I go open in timeline, I'll get a new tab, and it is my original footage, okay? No audio, the audio is still over here for now, but what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna delete this audio because I'm gonna show you guys how this is so powerful. I'm gonna delete this audio. I'll come over here to podcast reformat. Here's my original footage. I'll delete that. And if I go back to vertical video, you see there's nothing in here, okay? And I'm not gonna touch vertical video. That's gonna stay just like that. I'll come over here to the 4K UHD timeline. I'll delete that because it's a new day. I'm on episode 2 of my podcast. So I'm gonna drop in episode 2. I'll drop that in. We've got some dancing going on here. It's a pretty cool clip. I'm gonna copy this, Command-C, come over to my podcast reformat timeline. This is the footage that lives inside of that compound clip. I'm gonna paste it, and then when I go back to vertical video, the formatting is already done for me. I never have to go through and crop and scale and everything. If I wanna turn this into 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different compositions, different pieces of content, I can make a new timeline, reformat, reshape everything, and every day I take my podcast, I bring it in here to my A-roll, my music, whatever I want to do, and I start editing away in my 4K timeline, and then that's my primary. From there, I can copy and paste to 1080 for smaller clips that are easy to share, and then drop it into here to the timeline that's within the compound clip, and in my vertical video timeline, the formatting is already done. Guys, this is gonna save you hours, maybe years of your life doing this. Now, there is one catch. The catch is that the audio that's in here does not automatically play silence on my vertical video timeline. It's easy to fix. Let's talk about how we would want to edit this. Maybe your long form video lives in your 4K timeline and your short form 30-second, 10-second version lives in your vertical video. Come in here to the compound clip, make your edits. Let's say I want to edit out, this segment right here, for example. I can delete that, copy my audio, Command-C, come back into vertical video, go to the beginning of the timeline, Command-V to paste, and you see something happened. My compound clip is not the same length. Different episode, different clip, different length, no problem. Just highlight both of these, drag them out, and you have perfectly synced up audio and video within a whole new clip. And you guys can just take this, my dog's scratching on the couch over there. You guys can take this and run with it and do so much with this. It's so powerful. Like I said, you can create any combination, any number of these. It's up to you. The sky's the limit. I'd love to see what you guys do with this. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Now you can save this, whatever you want to do. This is your default project template. So every day when you go into your podcast, you open up your project manager and you open up podcast template. What you can do is as soon as you open that up, you can go File, Save Project As, and give it a new name. So episode 1, episode 2, if you want to keep these for long-term editing, or you can just save it and then sanitize the footage at the end of each day. The way you do that is I'm going to delete the audio here from my vertical video. I'm going to delete the whole clip from my compound clip. I'll delete whatever I have in 1080. I'll delete whatever I have in 4K, but I can easily delete from my bins because I'm staying organized. Save that, and I've got a perfectly sanitized file to go into the next day. Guys, if you like this video, feel free, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel for more like it. If you're looking to become a better content creator, better editor, more efficient, all that stuff, so at the end of the day, you have more time to spend either creating more content, spending time with friends and family, your dog, whatever you guys want to do, then that would mean a lot to me for you to hit that button. But if I haven't earned it yet, then do me this one favor. Smash that like button. It's not on the screen, it's outside. It's learning a new magic trick. It's high-fiving a stranger. It's taking your dog out for a walk like I'm about to do. Whatever you guys want to do, go for it.